It is Saturday, the 25th of June, 2022. We're looking towards the post-solstice sunrise. I'm noticing my exposure is a little darker than it really should be. I'm also noticing we got this contrail coming into the scene. We also got a fair number of insects, little moths flying around, so that's going to get in the picture somewhat. But yeah, we're a little underexposed here in terms of the sky, and very overexposed in terms of the landscape. But yeah, a bunch of moss here, so I'm just going to adjust the exposure a bit. I think I can play with the exposure compensation dial. There we go. So that's closer to what I'm seeing in terms of the sky. Still quite underexposed in terms of the buildings and landscape. You know, like I see green grass and trees, but we're just getting black silhouette here. But that's just because of the fact that the camera, even though it has a very high dynamic range insofar as cameras go, it still is a bit off from what the human eye can see. I actually would like one day to have a camera that sees exactly what I'm seeing. You know, you can always make it more contrasty after if you want, but I'd really like a camera, video or still, or both ideally, that essentially would register on the camera, you know, the same brightness levels that the human eye is seeing. So that looked like a seagull that went flying off there. Looks like it might be swinging back. No, but yeah, it's flying quite close off to my right there. So the sun should pop up over the horizon, more or less in the middle of the frame soon, in a matter of minutes. So I think I'll just let this run. It's 4:56 now, according to my cell phone, and let's see what the sunrise time is. Give it to us in a second here. 5:07. So we're about 10 minutes away from the official sunrise, so maybe a little premature in terms of filming, but we'll keep going for a little bit. But yeah, I don't think we'll keep going here until the sun pops up over the horizon, especially since it probably won't pop up over the horizon at, excuse me, 5:07. Probably be a little bit later than that. Yeah, we've got plenty of insects here. We can see them causing a little bit of havoc. So yeah, so we just got this aircraft contrail, nice pre-sunrise clouds. They were nice and pink earlier. Now they're sort of a cream color, shall we say, slightly orange yellow. And let's see here. That aircraft is probably directly above where the sun will come up, or the sun might come up a bit to the right of that. But I don't really know exactly. I don't have one of these apps that show me exactly where the sun's going to come up on the horizon. Excuse me. So yeah, we can see the moon there, in the upper right. I wanted the moon in the frame for a reference point, if nothing else. So Venus and Mercury are in the frame to the left and below the moon, but they're essentially no longer visible because the sky's simply too bright to see them now. And off to my right, I think I can actually faintly make out Jupiter still. I could be mistaken, but I think I can see Jupiter very faintly. Mars for sure will not be visible because it was faint even in the quite dark sky. So let's see. I don't know if it's worth just letting this thing run until the sun comes up or not. I think it's quite a long time to be. Yeah, well, it's coming up for 5, and we were talking about 5:07 for the sunrise. Is that it? There's something bright there above the horizon, probably a cloud being lit up. But I'm wondering if, the official sunrise time might be a bit off, and that might actually be the sun popping above a cloud. I think it might just be that. Let's see here. It's coming. That's about where I would expect the sun to be coming up. So it may be that the official sunrise time that my cell phone gave me is a bit off. Let's zoom in here and see what we're actually looking at here, because I do see something. There it is off to the left. Looks like our focus needs some adjusting. There we go. So yeah, that's either a cloud lit by the sun. I think that's probably what it is a cloud being lit by the sun below. I don't think it's the sun itself, but I expect the sun to come up somewhere in this area. We can see the 5 Roses flower neon sign off to the right a bit. Excuse me. Yeah, that's definitely a cloud, but it's probably just below where the sun is going to come up. And I'm debating if I want to change my position so the sun comes up more behind the 5 Roses flower sign, because that would be a nice little juxtaposition. Let's zoom out again to get the bigger picture. So now I'm all the way out at 24 millimeters, and the moon should be there. Let's just raise the camera a bit. So we still have the skyline. The moon should be there. I think it's, I don't see it. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it was, because it's very small on the screen. Don't really see the moon all that well. So we could, no, we can't. If we zoom in, I think if I pan a bit, there we go. So yeah, just waiting for the sunrise. I guess we'll keep this thing rolling. I guess we won't change our position. But, excuse me, boy. I was a little sleep deprived these days as a result of these kind of activities. And basically got quite sleep deprived over the last month and a half or so, and I haven't really properly caught up yet. Let's see here. Lots of insects, as I was saying. And it's interesting in terms of the ISO. We're at 72, which is set automatically by the camera. The base ISO is 64, so it's getting close to the base ISO. 7.1 aperture, so just a little off from f8, and a 40th of a second. So, moderate shutter speed, moderate aperture, and quite low ISO. Remember the days of shooting Kodachrome 64. Okay, so I see a bit of a glow there. See a glow. So let's zoom back in again. Hopefully the focus is good. I think I set it to manual focus. Yes, I did. So it shouldn't change as we zoom in. So the sun's coming up, you know, as I was saying, you know, more or less under the aircraft contrail. So I think our horizon is just a little bit wonky. Unusual tripod angle here. It's not level. There we go. That's better. I think the sky's a little overexposed, so I'm going to adjust the exposure compensation a bit. So slightly darker. Let's go one more. Okay. So yeah, I think the sun going to come up where those three buildings are. I think I could just recenter a little bit. So we're getting the edge of downtown. Maybe I should zoom out and let's get the, okay, so that's the downtown Montreal skyline. Off to the left, you know, pretty well all of it. And somewhat to the right, we've got the somewhat post solstice sunrise. So I think this will be our angle. 5:06. So as I said, the official sunrise time was 5:07, but I expected it'll actually rise somewhat later. You know, just in terms of height above the, you know, the sea level and all that kind of stuff. The buildings obscuring things a little bit. I mean, those buildings are, you know, they have a certain height. I think those are maybe buildings, grain silos in the old port, or not. Trying to think of what else I see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're buildings in the old port. So we're just going to wait for the sun to come up above the horizon, just off to the right of the Montreal skyline on this Saturday, June 25th morning. Again, I'm debating adjusting the exposure a bit. The sky's just a little bit lighter than what I'm seeing with the eye. Not much, but it's just slightly, I won't say washed out, but it could have a bit more, you know, contrast. So maybe I will just play with exposure compensation a bit and bring it down. So I brought it down. Oh, you know what it is? It's, yeah, I think we have to raise the shutter speed. I think that's part of the problem. We're at base ISO, so let's, yeah, we got actually, there we go. We got to the point where we couldn't really adjust with the auto exposure, especially since, yeah. So there we go. That's question of adjusting the shutter speed or the f-stop. So that's it. We're at 60th of a second, f7.1, ISO 64. That's the lowest ISO of this camera. You can actually go about a stop lower in sort of special settings, but the true base ISO of this camera, where the best performance is 64. So we're just going to stay here at 64 ISO, and I guess if it comes down to it, we'll adjust the oh, there's a glint of the sun between the two buildings on the right, so it's starting to come up. I see a nice orange little glint. It's probably washed out in the video. So there it is. It's actually, this is interesting because it's basically like an alignment, right between the buildings. Let's zoom in here a bit and see if we can get a better view of it. So here we go, right smack in the middle. We see the sun coming up between the buildings. So unfortunately I can't zoom in anymore with this lens. It's sort of a wide to medium telephoto lens. Can't really become more powerful. The only way to get a closer view would be to change lenses, and I don't particularly want to do that. We got about 4 minutes of recording time left, so maybe when the video ends I'll change lenses. But oh, that's interesting, I no longer see the glint. I think what happened is it's off to the right now. It's behind the building. If I was to, I'm going to walk off to my left to see if I can see that glint again. So yeah, so now it's coming above the building. I did walk off to my left, and yes, I was able to get it between the buildings. So the building was obscuring it, but it's now coming up above the building. I will say again, that what I am seeing is a sun. It's bright, but it has some color in it. It's basically sort of orangey yellow, but it'll be totally washed out white in the video, unfortunately. That's just the way things go. I could adjust the shutter speed somewhat, so now the sky is darker than I'm seeing, and the sun's still pretty washed out. I think we'll go back another, so even this is slightly darker than what I'm seeing. I'm going to just raise the camera so we see more sky and less silhouetted building. So this is our nice sunrise sky here in I'm in NDG, but as I said, the Montreal Skyline's just there off to the left. We'll just pan off to the left, so there's the skyline. I think I will zoom out to be able to show the position of the somewhat post solstice, and I see I've only got about a minute of recording time left, so we're getting to the end of this clip. 20 minute of somewhat boring video, but yeah, sky's looking pretty much as what I'm seeing with the eye, maybe just slightly darker to have a bit more detail. The sun is coming up over the building. We see the Montreal Skyline, so we can see where the summer solstice sunrise is, from this location, which, as I said, I'm basically on my left. I have the McGill University Hospital in NDG. St. Jacques Boulevard is about 100 feet away, maybe even less, just off the pedestrian, sidewalk. And that's our summer solstice sunrise. We had very cloudy weather. The 21st, it was very cloudy. The 22nd wasn't so bad, but it just, the weather's not been that good in terms of being able to get a sunrise image. And I see I've only got about 20 seconds of recording time left. So what I'll do is I'll just let this run out. I don't think I'm gonna, maybe I'll put on a more powerful telephoto lens and take it from there. That's it for for now.